but then we're going to make it bounce. Oh!
She sent us to the naughty corner. I just made a joke. She sent us to the naughty corner. Wasn't even woke.
Go to the naughty corner right. Where's my shoe? Go to the naughty corner right now.
Party in the naughty corner. It's the place to be. Party in the naughty corner. She threw away the key. Party in the naughty corner. We can never leave.
Laughing at me at the same time. What are you two laughing at? Because both of you can go to the naughty corner right now. There's room for both of you now.
Again to the naughty corner. I just called Will's name. Again to the naughty corner. I am not to blame.
Larry, go to the naughty.
Go to the naughty corner. I'm a rock screamed at me. Go to the naughty corner. Carrie laughed at me. Party in the naughty corner. It's the place to be. Party in the naughty corner. She threw away the key. Party in the naughty corner.
Go to the naughty corner right now. Right now.
I was muted. Right now. Go to the naughty
Right
corner.
now. The naughty
Right.
corner. Yeah, you're not doing a great job at this part. You want me to do it?
Whatever.
I don't have the titties, but I have the ability. To the naughty study with AJoT, y'all. We're gonna do something stupid tonight. I got a couple of videos over here. I actually let her pick one this week. You know how bad Binky be sometimes.
I'm not bad.
You're just drawn that way.
Yep.
We need to get in touch with your artist.
Oh,
Oh, I heard a
whatever.
good one the other day. Hold on, I heard a good one. What that motherfucker say on me? He said I look like I was drawn by God's left hand. Oh, God, that got me right in the jubblies, baby. Like, ow, why would you do that to me? What in the world? All right, do your thing. I'm probably going to start glitching out about halfway through because my internet's made of cheddar cheese right now. Lots of holes in it.
Oh, yeah? All right. So we're going to do that thing. So I got to scroll back. I don't have a clicker, guys, but that's okay. We can do this,
Ain't
right?
got no clicker.
Right.
Chill with Claymore first.
Claiborne got the gold. Hairbag 420, you got the silver. And Edwin Hewitt. Edwina.
Edwina
Edwina has the bronze. We got Fletch 83. Is that right? Oh, hold on. I got to move my page down. We got Queen Kaylin. Welcome in.
Are you sure?
Yep, I'm sure.
You did a whole bunch of talking here for a minute.
Whatever. We got you Ho. Welcome.
Free side.
Free side in the house. Come on, what's that one? Do you remember?
That Blood Dragoon.
Yes. There we go. Good job.
Yee.
Yay.
Sasquatch learned to think.
We got Tack in here. And we got Gregory. Welcome in, Gregory.
I missed Gregory. Where's Gregory? We got Havoc. What's up, bud?
Havoc came out of the bushes.
This is efficiency. This is efficiency. This is efficiency right here. I respect this. It looks cheesy in a chat, but at the same time, it's pure efficiency. I can respect.
Oh, for sure.
All right, I think we got everybody. P Fletch 30, 83, 38,
Yeah,
83.
yeah. William Downey in the house.
Welcome in, bud. Good to see you. We're gonna be doing something with him in a couple of days. I'll let her tell you about it.
Yes, so Thursday we're doing an interview with William Downey, who is an officer at Glendale, Arizona PD. So that's going to be fun. Woo woo.
Yee.
Thursday.
That's what we're doing Thursday. I have no idea what time. Somebody
8
else
p.m.
scheduled it and they're
Central.
running.
8
So it's
p.m.
their
Central.
show. I'm just along for the ride and going to ask a bunch of stupid questions. That's my plan. How's that work for you?
It'll work. Either way, we're going to do it.
That'll be the way to go. So, are you aware? You are aware. You told me about it. There's supposedly a serial killer operating in the greater Austin area. How much do you personally know about that? Like, how much have you been following it?
I've been following it from the get-go. From the beginning. So in 2 years, the last 2 years, they just over the July 4th weekend found body number 13. So that's 13 bodies that have been found in Ladyburg Lake. And they all have similarities. Like the victim, there's a victim pattern. And most of them, and they keep saying, there's no need to, be alarmed. It's not a serial killer, blah, blah, blah. And everybody in city and Austin and neighboring are like, yes, it is.
So they're doing the basic cop thing and just trying to pass the buck back and forth until nobody can be blamed for it.
Right. And like, most of and they're blaming it because it's right off of the Rainey Street area, which is, it's not 6th Street, but it's a little further down, but it's like a smaller version of 6th Street. So there's a lot of restaurant and bars and stuff. A lot of people drink there, and they're claiming that these people are just getting drunk and they're walking down by the river and they're just falling in.
You see that one?
InfoWars.
I'm going to tell you, Alex Jones doesn't go for any of that type of stuff. He might get rid of all the gray frogs, but the gay people are fine by him. All right, I think you did a pretty good job. We're going to roll out from there. This is Law&Crime. We're going to be kind of pause heavy on this one because it's very well done. And we're going to try to skip out on that whole copyright claim thing. Fair use for all those out there who don't believe it.
Been coined for a possible the Rainey Street Ripper, a name that's been coined for a possible serial killer in Texas. But is this real? Multiple deaths in Austin, Texas, near a popular nighttime hotspot of Rainey Street, have caused people to believe that a murderer is on the loose. But is the Ripper responsible? Does the Rainey Street Ripper even exist? Police say no. Others disagree. We're going to talk with former FBI and CIA agent Tracy Walder, who's been following this case since the first body turned up.
Edwina, no, I don't think
Sidebar.
so.
What it is?
Edwina asked, "Is that where the guy kept finding women's shoes?" And no, I don't believe so, but I could be wrong.
That's a funny question, given what I know about the victims.
By Law&Crime, I'm Jesse Weber. So for the last 2 years, dead bodies have been found on a mile-long stretch of the Colorado River between the Lamar Boulevard Bridge and Ladyburg Lake out in Austin, Texas. It's about a half.
All right. So that's not an entirely huge area. What is that?
No.
Like a quarter mile? Half mile?
Something like that.
Maybe not even that much. Oh, it says 3.8 miles.
Okay.
I guess that includes the trip up 35. So 3.1 is the shortest distance. But okay.
Half hour's walk from the Rainey Street neighborhood. And that is a trendy night spot with pubs, restaurants, food trucks, the place where the Rainey Street Ripper got his name, or her name. We're going to get to that in a second, because the latest body was found just a week ago, as Austin police had reported.
On July 5th at approximately 5:30 p.m., officers responded to the Waller Beach at Town Lake Metro Park.
Can we just take a look at this gentleman here right now? This guy is the one they chose to make their public service announcement about this thing, and he's wearing shorts.
Yeah, man, it's hot in Texas, dude.
Okay, it's hot in Texas, but it doesn't look terribly official. I feel like he's going to climb on a bicycle in a minute and like pedal off.
I mean, it could be they do have bicycle cops down there. I mean,
Okay, but why would you let one give a press conference?
I don't know,
Like,
but you know, now that I think about it, I mean, he's done a couple of them.
what is
And
he, 12? He must be like one of the ride-along volunteers that you get from the high school occasionally. Jesus Christ. If this guy pulled me over, I wouldn't believe he was an actual cop. I'd think he was trick-or-treating. I'd give you some fucking candy and send him on his way.
TAC, I mean, they are not falling. They're not falling in the, and I'm gonna, now that we're actually doing this part on our show, I'm gonna follow it up with, I'm gonna go down there, you know, during the day, and I'm gonna video it. You know what I mean? Where this is, and then I'll have to go at night just to see, you know, the whole difference and stuff, because I think that would be good.
Chick.
But I don't believe that they're falling
Let me tell
in.
you what's going to happen. You carry your ass over there.
I am.
Let me tell you what's going to happen.
Ain't nothing gonna
People.
happen because
you should
AJoT's
be
gonna be strapped.
One,
And
I don't give a fuck how strapped you are. You can fall down. Listen.
I'm gonna follow
Either
the river.
you're going to become a victim
No, I'm not.
or you're going to find a victim.
I
Which
mean,
is the one I
hey,
lean towards is finding a victim because that's my fucking luck. I would carry my butt down there doing a stupid YouTube video and not notice the victim, and everyone on the live stream going, "There's a mannequin over there." But children, ladies, gentlemen, it is never ever a mannequin. It is
no.
always a body. No one puts a mannequin out there.
I mean, I'll have my bodyguard. You know, I got Toe.
And so Toe Daddy's going to be your fast draw second.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
You're going to be white slavery, girl.
Rainey Street and Cumming Street. In reference
What's
to
fucked up though is so is he.
urgent call for service, which is a high priority call for service that requires an immediate police response. This call for service was responded
Hold
to
up, I
in
gotta
a
do
timely
this.
manner.
Spider pig does whatever a spider pig does. What's up, bud? Crofty,
All types
good to see
advised
you.
the complainant located a white male with apparent life-threatening injuries to his body. The Austin Fire Department, Austin Travis County EMS, and the Austin Police Department arrived on scene, and unfortunately, the victim was pronounced deceased at approximately 5:45 p.m.
Now, this man is still unidentified, and there were news reports that once he was removed, there were quote, thick pools of
We
blood.
got a participation award, dude.
I thought it was because he doesn't talk about what happened while they're camping. You know, just like Scoutmaster Timmy.
Welcome in, Benji.
Yeah, baby. Good to see you.
Is he
Welcome
fine?
in. Y'all tickle that like.
Scott.
Don't do that kind of stuff because that's what everybody wants to see is the like button flash and become abused. Y'all abuse the like button. I want you to beat on it and stuff, but an odd number of times. You gotta keep I suppose, technically speaking, they say it doesn't matter whether it's liked or disliked, that the engagement is what counts.
Right.
But I find that hard to believe when you actually apply it to the algorithm when you're scrolling through, right?
Right.
Makes me
Welcome in,
wonder what the
Stephanie.
effects of a bunch of downvotes are. Like, if you get horribly ratioed, I don't know. Just thinking.
Water's edge, and what kind of injuries could have caused that much bleeding?
They're just some type of blunt force trauma to the body. I don't really have any specific injuries.
Now, Officer Zarling also played down the idea that this death had any connection to the Rainey Street Ripper or any other kind of killer.
I am reading.
Not being investigated as a homicide at this time.
Do we have a type, a victim type, a kind, as it were?
Yeah, male. They're younger. I mean, I say young, but I'm 42. But they're like, I think 20s, right?
Right.
And I don't know exactly how many, but a lot of them are gay or There were a couple that were trans.
Okay. So I'm going to read from that alternative lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right. Not
Right.
not so much that this is like a hate crime kind of thing, but an individual who prowls the alternative scene, as it were.
Right.
So it could have, but they do seem to target males. Do you believe
Yeah.
this is a female killer, or do you think we have
A male hater? A male sexual orientation hater?
I mean, it would be a hate crime every day of the week in that case.
Well,
right?
I mean, right, but either way, I mean,
that would be no different from killing someone because they're black.
no, I
Like,
get it.
just
I
black,
totally
that would
agree.
be- That's bad, right? We all agree that's bad. We don't do
Right.
stuff like that, right? So we
No.
can't do that with gay people either, trans or otherwise. I mean, makes sense to me at
Correct.
least. Yeah, I'm good with that. Not hunting people, that's fine. I mean, if we start hunting people, I want to throw my name in the pot as warlord. That's all I'm saying. My high school guidance counselor didn't tell me that was an option. What's up, Susanna? Welcome in.
And all investigative steps being taken are routine measures. At this time, this is being considered an isolated incident, and there's no known threat to the general public. I spoke to homicide detectives, and there's no serial killer at this time. At least we don't believe there is one.
However, while police initially
No serial killer at this time. 13 male alternative lifestyle gentlemen. You can stack some cordwood up, stack it up like cordwood, but that's not a serial. Blunt force trauma. I think the issue here is that the MO is so generalized and might just involve weapons of convenience instead of him bringing a weapon to use.
Right.
So it's a brick or a rock or a stick or whatever's handy. So you would be talking about, he's also targeting men. This means something. This is all right. So this is a large gentleman who is very, very confident in his ability to beat a man to death with his bare hands.
Well, but
Yeah.
see, this was, I don't want to say it was the first, but out of the 13 bodies, there were only a couple of them that had actual like trauma to them. Like, for example, this one, blunt force trauma. Most of them, or the higher percentage of them, were just, they called it drowning. There was no, it looked like no foul play, as far as.
Mirrors. Good to see
Huh?
you. Mirrors come in.
Welcome in.
So wait, what we've got is a handful of possible drowning / overdose deaths, and then a handful of like blunt force trauma deaths, and they've been lumped together because they're all alternative in some way.
Right.
Okay, so chances are what we have here is just that, a handful of overdose / drownings alongside some type of active gang activity or serial killer. I lean towards the gang activity for a reason. You want to know the reason? Oh, simple. The gang activity is basically the guys are getting involved with supposedly straight gang members who then basically clap back by killing them, beating them down. I'm not positive that the death was intentional in that case, because typically once you take the ass whooping, they let you go.
Right.
But if it happens near a river, that's a little bit of a different story. Might not make it away. But this is just stuff I've read about, of.
So Gregory sent me something. Of course, this was back when there were only 10. So this it's from Inside Edition. This that he sent me doesn't have the last 3, but I do want to read this part. So out of the first,
Magnificent was the blame for all this.
out of the first 10, so 2 of the 10 were accidental drownings, according to Travis County medical examiner. Austin Police Department reported no evidence of foul play in 4 of the 10. And then 2 deaths were not being investigated as homicides, according to police. So, I mean, like I said, it's crazy. And there was 1 identified female, I see. So it says.
Sorry, I had somebody drop a hard R in chat. No hard R's, bruh. That's not nice. No hard R's. I mean, I'm as free speech as the next guy, and yes, hate speech is just the type of speech that needs protecting. This is not a free speech platform. This is YouTube. So I gave him a minute in the penalty box. We'll see how that goes. Good luck with it, brother. Hope it works out for you. 13 now, huh?
Reported the cause of death to be blunt force trauma. 2 days later, they changed that to a
This is the naughty corner.
Gunshot.
So welcome in.
And therefore,
So did you hear that?
Homicide. So what about?
Probably not. What do you say?
So 2 days after the statement was made by PD, they came back and said that it was a gunshot wound to the back of the head.
How do you?
So now it's being investigated as a homicide.
Right. Well, it's a homicide either way, but how do you mistake a gunshot wound for a blunt force trauma? That makes no sense.
I don't know. Welcome in, Brendan Mitchell.
That's as wild as what's up, Mitch? That's as wild as the old mystery case where the chick was shot with a 38, but it was actually the heel of a stiletto heel.
Oh yeah,
They never found the bullet because there was no bullet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Welcome in, Anarchy Television.
Wasn't it?
A self-inflicted gunshot wound, and therefore it will not be treated as a homicide.
That's right.
What about the persistent claims that the Rainey Street Ripper stalks the area, a killer largely targeting gay men who frequent the Rainey Street nightlife? That has been one of the allegations. Terrified residents, they've set up Facebook groups. One has more than 90,000 followers to voice their growing fears that the deaths may in fact be connected. Then there was this report that in April, a bartender on the entertainment strip claimed a patron told him he was the Rainey Street Ripper and that he was attacking men in the nearby waterway. Posting on Reddit that the bartender recalled that the man suddenly started talking about killing, and there's a derogatory word that he uses for gay men, from Lady Bird Lake, that he found them from Rainey Street. He was clearly angry and was saying in a low voice, but I know what I heard. And he described the client as a white man in his 40s, about 5'10" tall, with a muscular build, brownish light hair. That's the month, man.
I'll be. Wanna be. A little bee. I'll be. Anarchy, welcome in. See, the hard end's not so bad there, bro. See, that even gets up on screen because those people are from there, and that's actually a technical definition.
Jeff Jones reported he was attacked by this Ripper, but lived to tell the tale. He said he'd been drugged, then plummeted 25 feet off a bridge, narrowly avoiding being drowned. He woke up in the hospital more than 2 weeks later after doctors had implanted metal rods to hold his back together. And Jeff said that whoever they may be just missed the target, and I hit the ground. And luckily, because of that, I didn't drown. I just got lucky. Not many people can say they potentially survived a serial killer. So that's a story I can tell, I guess. But let's actually take a closer look at the people.
All right. So we've got an actual witness to one of the attacks that has survived.
Right.
So how can you say it's not a serial with a witness? I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. How do you have 13 bodies of the same general type and there not be a serial something happening?
Exactly.
I mean, maybe there's been flood every Friday night for the past 2 months, but I just don't see it.
People who weren't as lucky. The bodies of 11 men and 2 women have been found in the last 2 years, and here's what we know about their deaths. So it seems the first was back in July of 2022. 59-year-old Ricky Parks, and then in December of that year, 25-year-old Christopher Gutierrez. The Austin Police Department found no foul play in either death. The investigations have been closed.
So these gay men are just being found dead next to the river, and okay.
In the river.
Well, I'm assuming they washed up somewhere to have been found. So they're in on next to amongst the river.
Right.
Okay. Most of them are drowned.
That's what they're saying, yes.
And they're not attributing any of the damage, or at least they're not releasing any of the damage that is corroborated from kill to kill. They know something that we don't know. There's a detail here, like they've all been stabbed with the same knife, or they've all been shot with the same caliber pistol, or something that ties these all together that makes it a serial, because they're very, very, very insistent that this is not what's happening.
Oh, for sure. I totally 100% agree with you.
Because here's the thing. You can't say damage to a body occurred post-mortem or pre-mortem if it happens within like the same hour. And so if someone falls into a river off of a bridge and hits some rocks, dies, washed downstream and hits more rocks, you don't know whether the rocks they hit killed them or if they died before they fell off the bridge.
Hey, honey, welcome in.
Hey, honey. Unless there is a specific damage that makes it homicide. So a bullet, a knife wound mixed in with all the physical damage. And there are bull sharks around there. And
no.
Come on, man. Let me run with this. I love bull sharks.
No, I understand. Look, a bull, there was one bull shark that was found in the Guadalupe River, but that's nowhere around this area. But no, there's not bull sharks here, and there's no out. Oh,
shut up. Yes.
All the bodies would have been eaten. Or chomped on. God.
Man.
It's a serial killer.
It's a serious, not an alligator. Gotcha. What's up, Violence is Life? Welcome in, Bill.
Violence is Life. Hello.
In December of 2023, also, 45-year-old Josu Moreno's body was found. He was the first victim whose death was actually ruled a homicide. Moreno was shot in his car while driving. His vehicle was plunged into the Lady Bird Lake. There was an arrest for his murder, though. Joel Santiago Gonzalez Padron. Hey there, everybody. This episode of Sidebar is sponsored by Truth Finder, and it makes sense since we cover a lot of stories where we have to ask ourselves how well
do we care?
Really know.
Welcome in, Joko.
Well, Truth Finder is a service that can maybe provide you some answers. Determined there was no foul play. Investigation was closed there. 2023, 5 bodies were pulled out of the lake, starting with 30-year-old Jason John. And
what was that?
Angela G. up in the house. Angela G.
I'm looking. There she is. How you doing?
I don't have the clicker, guys.
She's going to have the clicker on the next one. We'll see who does better at this.
His death was ruled an accidental drowning, and so was the death of 33-year-old Jonathan Honey 2 months.
I should probably turn off my audiobook and my nature documentary, huh?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Months later, both men were last seen separately on Rainey Street before their disappearances. Jason was walking home. His family seems to believe there's more to the story of his death, though, because Elsie John, Jason's mom, said Jason was 30. Jonathan Honey was 33. 2 a.m, Rainey Street. So there were some similarities.
I don't hate sharks because they're real tasty. Never eaten a shark. Give it a try.
I've eaten alligator.
That more men
I've eaten alligator, man. We spent a weekend one time. We went and got like 5 pounds of gator meat, and we spent an entire weekend just grilling it, cooking it. We made some jerky. We made little barbecue alligator tendies. It's fucking awesome, dude.
Dead. We don't know how many Jonathans are going to be losing their lives again, and this is not acceptable. Elsie John said that her family is going through such unimaginable sorrow and despair over the past few weeks that they do not want another family to face the heartbreaking pain that they've experienced when they were searching.
Welcome in, Crystal.
She asked police to make all the necessary actions to protect the life of the people of Austin near and at Lady Bird Lake. Then we have 40-year-old Clifton Axtell, was found in Lady Bird Lake around the same time as Jason and Jonathan after missing near a downtown bar. He was a married father of 2. His cause of death was ruled undetermined. 2 weeks later.
Oh, yeah, I was supposed to show you all this and I forgot. So I'm going to do it now because I'm that type of guy. It's not exactly a kiss and tell thing, but kind of.
And I will assassinate you.
That's not assassinate. Read it again.
Assimilate. Sorry, my bad.
One more blonde joke, folks. Just one more.
One more.
Jesus.
Rumsky, welcome in.
Christopher Hayes Clark's death was said to have had no foul play or suspicious circumstances. His death and those of 3 additional people, including 2 women, were not investigated as homicides. There was an unidentified woman, age unknown. Then we have Maga Dogal, discovered in June 2023, age also unknown. And then the unidentified man found most recently on July 5th.
I got a question for you, AJoT.
What's that?
What do you call a blonde that has more than 2 brain cells?
Pregnant.
The autopsies on the people who died this year were not available, but police say
What up, Rumsky?
their bodies
Welcome in,
showed
bud.
no signs of trauma. The latest, as we said, appeared to have been from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Stephanie
Now, I
Jinx,
should
good
tell
to see
you
you,
that
girl.
police
Appreciate
investigations
you coming
here,
through.
they've consistently found that most of the deaths are accidental and that they share a combination of alcohol and easy access points to Lady Bird Lake.
Okay, so most of the deaths have been deemed accidental.
Mm-hmm.
Then who's drawing the conclusion that there's a serial killer? Is that just from the press?
No, because the well, I mean, I guess, but I think they're
Right.
just being a voice for what people are thinking.
Okay, so let's look at the physics. Is this a closed lake or a locked lake?
It's
How
not
much
locked.
flow goes through this thing is what I'm asking. Is there like a dam at the other end of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so chances are the flow is probably fairly low. So if a body fell into the Colorado upstream, the last place it would be found would probably be at that point in Lady Bird Lake. Most of the victims are coming from a very specific region of the city. There might be a serial killer type activity in this, but it would be difficult to identify it if the individual, like I said, utilized weapons of convenience. You know, a rock or a brick or whatever was handy. Somebody big enough to be confident that they can just beat a man to death with their bare hands if they need to.
Well, but yeah, but I mean, as you heard, there's not too many that had trauma, and that's why they're saying it was, you know, accidental drowning, yada yada. I think that whoever is targeting them realizes they're drunk and takes the perfect opportunity, right, to push them in, okay, because they're drunk, you know, and they're
Oh,
stumbling.
you're thinking it's a pusher, not a murderer.
No, they're still murder, butthole.
Well, yes, but there is a distinction here in the psychology of what's occurring. When you murder someone, you go and you kill them. When you push someone, they may or may not die. That might be up to
But
God.
if they're drunk and obliviated, the percentage of them dying would be high. So I still
Sure.
think it's a psycho.
They are, yes, I'm not debating on whether or not they're crazy. I'm talking about the psychology behind the reasoning of such things. People who push people onto train tracks have a totally different mental framework from people that just knife a guy in the freaking eye with a freaking screwdriver. These are
Right.
different thought processes. you
Right.
know?
And violence is life. I get drunks drown, but that's what I'm saying. This person, or I would, you know, claim to be a serial killer, is pushing these drunks in. The ones that have trauma or like, you know, I don't think it was a self-inflicted
I
gunshot
was
wound.
just gonna say, let's look at this let's turn it on its head. All right. So far, we've tried to find some way to tie the victims together in a way that makes any kind of freaking sense. Let's remove the victims that have legitimate homicide or self-inflicted type wounds.
So that's
Stick-
only 2.
Right. well, 3, because one of them was stabbed, but it was determined to be self-inflicted. It was originally thought to be, I can't remember. Anyway, we'll say 3, right? So there's 10. We're back to 10 supposedly naturally occurring deaths because people got real drunk and fell in the river, or fell asleep next to the river, or got beat down by somebody near the river.
Right.
The point being that true, drunks do drown. That is true. And if you fall off a bridge and it's not very deep, you're liable to break something and not be able to swim or stand up or get your head up or just get knocked out and drown. I don't know as far as estimated time and death. We're not looking into the individual cases quite that deeply. We're looking at the overarching theory of whether or not there is an active serial killer working the Lady Bird Lake region. I'm inclined to say not a very active one. I know it seems like a lot of bodies, but at least a couple of these bodies probably were cases of drunks drowning or otherwise falling in the river. So we'll take another.
You should have told me you were doing this, homie, because I have other videos. It was
in the description. Everything's in it. You copied and pasted it, but you didn't read it.
Oh, no, I didn't. And that's my fault. And I get that. But yeah, anyway.
But it's still my fault.
I have another whatever that goes into all of like those answers.
Do you have a link?
Let me hold on. Let me look.
All right, you go do that, and we'll do some more of this. And
Austin Parks and Rec have installed better lighting along with fences and warning signs near the lake. So far, there's no surveillance cameras. I should point that out. But now to sum it up.
That's kind of what I was saying, is we would have to sit down and go through each one of these cases and ourselves and determine whether we thought that was a sus one or not. And I'm sure a lot of them will simply fall under the category of having been damaged in the river after they fell in or drowned or passed out or whatever it is. Probably some overdoses mixed in there too. What's up, Snarky? Welcome in. Good to see you. Appreciate you coming through. Hey, I'd like everybody to take this.
Alcohol has been the thing, but go ahead.
Probably. I would like everybody to take this moment and go down to the little share feature and just copy the link.
Jeff Greenwald said, there are a lot of allegations that there's a serial killer, but there's no proof or evidence in any of our investigations to sustain that. And police say that while each incident occurred at the lake, the circumstances, exact locations, and demographics surrounding
Well, I mean, drunks do drown, and drunks sometimes drink themselves to death, and sometimes drunk die on their own vomit, and sometimes drunk, they get hit by a car and then stumble off the road into a freaking ravine or something to get washed out later. And without the only feature in amongst all of this is the seeming assumption, and I haven't seen any evidence of this, of these all being gay men. But it's a highly gay man active region. It's an area they're known to be there. So finding them there is not that unusual, especially if they're people that don't typically do heavy drinking or drugs. I mean, I'm not trying to chalk them all up to accidental death, but I'm serial killer. I mean, it wouldn't take but a couple of people to kill a couple of people and try to hide it as amongst these that it stops being a serial and becomes a group thing. I don't know. I'm just trying to think outside the box. Nothing? Okay.
These cases vary. Some of the cases remain under investigation.
What's up, Base
Well, now I want to turn to Tracy Walder, former FBI agent, CIA officer, national security contributor at News Nation, and author of The Unexpected Spy. Tracy, so good to have you. And I will tell you, I didn't know.
Are you there, AJoT?
Yeah.
I just wanted Based Oracle to know that he can blame you for me not trying to hit him up for a Sasquatch Shills Thursday, because you've already taken my Thursday and you didn't even ask.
Oh, my bad.
You just did it, and I've just went along with it, and I'm gonna call you out live.
All right.
I'm that type of asshole.
That's okay.
So hate her. It's her fault. It'll be the next Thursday, unless that's a first Thursday, and then we'll do something. We'll figure it out. We'll get it done.
Oh, that you have been following this for years.
Yes, well, thank you so much for having me, Jesse. In a way, I feel like I'm
Angela. Yes, you're right.
With this. I have been making TikToks and Instagrams and going on News Nation to talk about this for about 2 years now. It's something I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I tend to sometimes be overly logical, but it's more than just Austin. I mean, we have the same situation going on in Chicago, in the Chicago River. 16 bodies have been found since 2022. In Austin, 13 have been found since 2022. And the consistency, I think, with which we're seeing this, in my opinion, doesn't seem accidental. And
she is absolutely correct. I have an issue with the consistency of the victims. That's the issue I have. This almost has to be premeditated in some way.
Right.
But how?
I don't know.
So we're talking about a group of people or talking about a single individual? Pusher, or are we talking about somebody who beats people to death with random objects?
I don't know about the bodies that she was just talking about, so I would have to look into that to see, what's been said about them. But right now I would say pusher, and if they couldn't push and that person fought back, I think that's where we got the couple that had the trauma happening. Okay. Like they put up a fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that would still have to be a relatively large individual to be able to beat somebody down and throw them off a bridge or walk.
Not if they're drunk. Not if they're drunk.
I don't know, man. I might be a lot more dangerous when I'm drunk because I don't consider the ramifications of my actions.
It's this area, you know what I mean? Especially at night, you wouldn't see them until they were right up on you. It's not really well lit, like there's
Sure.
element, right?
But I'm still saying the individual would have to be confident enough that he can beat a man to death with his bare hands to be able to push someone off like that.
Right. Well, I mean, okay.
All right.
It doesn't seem random. And that's why I wish that we were looking into this more and maybe there was more interagency communication.
Let's explore that a little bit. And yes, I will couple that and say I have been on with Tracy so many times.
Lady J, welcome in.
Logical, rational, reasonable people. You do not jump to conclusions. So for you to say something seems off here when we have 13 bodies, now someone could look at this and say, wait a minute, these could all be accidents. These could all be people getting drunk and it's a, nightlife area. Do you suspect that there is a serial killer here, or do you suspect that their deaths might just be more than what they're initially determined?
Here's another theory. Suppose there's a shooting gallery there somewhere, and these are the people that overdosed. They just carry them out back, throw them off the edge.
No. That theory's out the window now.
Completely gone? There's no way.
No, there's no way. Because you keep making the verbiage overdose. They weren't overdosed. They were all found with alcohol in their system, but not like, I think there were a couple. You see what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. I got you. I still think it's a great idea, though. It'd work better in a Sherlock Holmes film.
That's a great question, and I'm going to give somewhat of a confusing answer, if that's okay. I think it's a combination of both. I do think that some of these are truly accidental. This is an area that's right near University of Texas at Austin. It is an area, right, where people are over-consuming alcohol, and it wasn't heavily fenced prior to.
ATL, you're already in the naughty corner. He adds his H after the fact. He just threw an H out there. I think his meds are kicking in.
All of this, and there were, as you mentioned before, very easy access. However, I think some of these deaths,
a large portion of them seem to have been on some level of intoxicated. Yeah. So there's
found in a small portion of the Colorado between the bridge on the Colorado River and Ladyburg Lake, 13 bodies in the last 2 years.
Right. So
no, they're not kidnapped. Most of them were just prior to them, whatever's going on, coming from like Rainey Street, where they consumed alcohol, and they're saying that these people were just drunk falling into the river.
Hey, yeah, I like that, dude. Double tap the screen, everybody. Like, do that a whole bunch. I don't know if it like stacks up, but if it does, that would be cool. Like, everybody just keep tapping, make sure it keeps playing. We'll just sit here and make a game of it. It'll be fucking, never mind. That's boring.
Particularly the ones that had been labeled undetermined. And then the fact that the police went from blunt force trauma to oops, gunshot wound to the head so quickly within a matter of hours. That
to me, that sounds almost like there might have been a miscommunication on the number of bodies involved in that particular investigation. Because that's weird for it to be like, oh, it's blunt force trauma. Nope, there's a bullet hole. What was it, a shotgun? Like, how do you mistake a baseball bat for a 38? I mean,
right.
Lends itself, in my opinion, to the idea that there may be someone out there doing this purposely. And I want to take it one step further and say that this may be going on in other states as well. And I think that is the concern that I have. And we see an uptick of body.
Oh, yeah. I like the trucker theories. These are always really good for me. First of all, you can't pin anything down because they're transient, and not transient in the hobo transient kind of way, but transient and they'll be on the East Coast for the first half of the week and the West Coast for the second half of the week. And so you got two dead gay guys in Atlanta and two dead gay guys in Austin, and nobody's none the wiser.
Right. Smoking G, welcome in. I looked into that because they were trying to claim that this was work of the Smiley Face murder killer. But there were a lot of differences. But they did try to twist that theory when all this was starting.
Welcome in, Smoking and G Sharp. What life? Good to see you. I don't like the Smiley Face theory at all. And I mean, as in, there's no such thing as a smiley face killer. And here's why I say this. The smiley face thing, graffiti, is one of the most prevalent graffitis in the history of the world. It is ubiquitous across language structure, and a smiley face is a smiley face the world over. So something like 60% of the people on the planet die within 60 yards of a smiley face without there being a killer involved. So looking at a handful of sus murders or cases where bodies were found and saying, oh, look, a smiley face is very much like very similar to saying, oh, look, a bush. Oh, it's near a bridge. It's near a berry patch, right? Like, it's just a very ubiquitous thing, and I don't buy it. It's everywhere.
We see a downtick of bodies in Chicago. And then when we see an uptick of bodies in Chicago, there's a downtick of bodies in Austin. It's very strange.
What do you mean by that? Because, again, somebody could say, look, this is an area, like there's a lot of areas across the country where it might be an area where people, they commit a crime. This is where they dump evidence. This is where they dump bodies. This could be an area where it's frequented. But what do you mean by the connection between Chicago and Austin and when that death rate? Walk us through exactly what you're talking about.
Right. So as I mentioned, I've been following this for a couple of years. And so I just started basically doing my own research, to be honest with you. And it really started out with something called the Smiley Face killer up in New York. The problem with that is that they were saying, oh, the person had to leave a smiley face in graffiti. And I think that just happened to be random graffiti at the site of a crime. And I think a lot of these got kind of dismissed is that they weren't all connected because they didn't have a smiley face. And I think that was...
So I just don't like the smiley face doesn't work unless you have a specific, unique smiley face that you find, you know what I mean? Something, with X's for eyes or some defining trait to that specific graffiti. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can say a smiley face killer is a thing because it's too ubiquitous to utilize as a signature without it being customized. I mean, you got to think serial killers often take trophies, and they target very specific targets for reasons that no normal person would be able to divine, right? Until you talk to them. Like, the issue with not signature tagging your stuff, right? It's just like having a YouTuber that doesn't have a logo, or
Right.
like fucking smoking auditor out there just uploading content with no brand concept at all, just not caring about it. That's not a thing. These people are very methodical, even if they are psychopaths. They have a method to the madness that they are doing.
Hey, so I'm gonna drop the link for Angela. She wants to come in. She has more insight to this. She's from the true crime.
Hey, it's your show. You do you, boo-boo.
I know. Angela, I'm gonna drop the link, but I'm not gonna leave it there. So
you can email it to her too. That would work.
Well, I don't remember if I have her email, so just unless it says Angela G, then don't let him up. I mean, it's that simple. ATL, the link is not for you.
Amateurs. I think I can handle it. Oh my.
Was misidentified at the beginning. But what I'm seeing is you'll see a cluster of 2 to 3 bodies.
Yeah, we're gonna have ATL. You know,
quick succession within the span.
You know, good and well, ATL is gonna come backstage, right?
Well, no, because I made sure. See, I did this very well. He's in your chat. He's not in my chat. So, but it's all right.
Hello, Tiny Angela. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm spiffy. You ever been spiffy before?
I've been spiffy before. I just got home and I'm spiffy I'll be spiffy in about 10 minutes.
That's how long it takes to roll one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, you do it. How'd you know?
Because it takes me about 3 minutes, and I can do it riding backwards on a motorcycle, riding through a swamp.
Mine's going right into a little thing called the bowl.
I don't know what you're talking about. We don't talk about such things on this channel.
No. So anyways, I really I clicked in when I was getting in the car to come home and heard you guys talking about this subject, and I was like, I looked this lake up like long time ago, and they were saying how nobody's supposed to, like, that big body of water, nobody can swim.
Nope.
Nobody can play in the water.
Nope.
And I found that really odd because it's such a large body of water. I don't understand why, it's not utilized.
Dirty water? Are we talking about unsanitary?
No. I think she's about to get into the history of why it became that way.
I don't.
You don't know why?
No, I've got to look that up. But
so I don't remember like when it hasn't always been like that. And I don't remember when they changed or made it a law that you couldn't swim. But what happened was 2 kids ended up dying playing in the water, and then ever since then, for whatever reason, they made the law to no swimming. Now you can, if you have a boat or kayak, it's really big for kayak.
Hold on. Check this out.
So that's what I was.
No one is allowed to swim, bathe, wade, or go into the waters of Lady Bird Lake except to recover human beings.
Right. So that struck me very weird when I first read about it. Now, here's a weird thing I'm going to just throw out there. I don't know. It sounds to me like you guys know about the condition of the bodies way more than I do. But now you have me interested to want to look into that. So I was watching a YouTube show one night. I'll just say it was I don't know, documentary YouTube video.
Welcome in, Patricia.
And these people were on in a amusement park type thing, and they went and they were walking across the bridge. Well, one of the people fell in. They were electrocuted. Nobody knew that there was like a wire underneath, a dock. And I guess this has happened in other lakes as well, where people will have docks and there's, for whatever reason, they have electrical running out there. Okay. And you don't know it until like somebody actually dies from it, obviously. So somebody had tried to jump in to save.
No, someone would have to pay for that electricity, and so someone had an immense electricity bill and couldn't figure out why.
But I mean, it wasn't known before. So I just have always had it in my head because I've seen and heard of other instances happening where somebody will fall in a body of water, or they'll think it's fine to swim in.
Check this out. Something I just saw a second ago. We're gonna go. Where's it at? All right. Most people are unaware it's illegal to swim in Lady Bird Lake. This law was passed in 1964 after 2 drownings occurred in the lake. Due to the stronger than expected current and large water debris. So the idea that these are people that fell into the river and just ended up right there in that section of the lake really doesn't hold. If there's enough of a current to just snatch people out and drown them, then they would be just found randomly around the lake rather than in a certain area.
So they're only being found in a certain area?
Only the bodies found in a specific area are being attributed to this particular killer. I would like to look further upstream and farther out into the lake and see what else we find in that area.
So I just pulled up something on the computer and it says, AKA Lady Bird Lake is not for swimming. There are all kinds of debris at the bottom of the lake, including old buildings and all of their materials.
Right.
Harmful blue-green algae has been found.
Yeah, they've been treating that for a while. So I have I'm gonna hold on, let me get the
I got something to say.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
King Kong ain't got shit on me.
So in private chat, I put the link to the I guess documentary or whatever of why there's no swimming in Lady Bird Lake. I mean, it's a I don't know if we'll get, you got to look at the getting struck stuff. It's true crime documentary, but it's like over an hour long.
The Austin City Council banned swimming in, like you said, 1964.
Okay.
And according to the city's watershed protection department, 1964 ordinance banned swimming between the Tom Miller Dam and the old Montopolis Bridge in the Colorado River waters.
Right. That's the 2 most local bridges. Well, the dam and the bridge.
And then it says, why did they ban it? City Deputy Environmental Officer in the Watershed Protection Department said the ban began after several drownings in the lake. Pollution is not the primary reason and would not be a reason today to prohibit swimming. There's a lot of urban streams that flow into Lady Bird Lake, so I can understand why people consider it to be polluted. The watershed monitor Lady Bird Lake, contact recreations, which look at E. coli levels. It does not meet those standards. Okay, so it says Johnson said the water does meet standards for stand-up paddle boards, kayaks, and technically swimming. But other safety hazards are still reasons to keep swimming prohibited.
Right.
Prior sand mining operations, gravel mining operations, and floods are some reasons why the river remains off limits to swimming. There's also currents from lower Colorado River, authority water releases that create a danger to swimmers. There are also destroyed bridges under the water that could be treacherous.
I think Havoc solved it. Havoc has solved the case. Havoc has completely figured it out. Oh, did I just freeze up completely?
And that
Yeah,
lake is only 10 to 16 feet deep, with some shallower and deeper areas.
Am
I
back
don't
yet?
know.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, I think Havoc just solved it. Did you see that?
I did.
It's illegal to swim in, and so if you fall in, you have no choice but drowning. Because if you swim, you've broken the law.
I just think, like you guys were talking about the drunk people. I don't know about you guys, and it's not safe to do. It's not good to do. I'm not promoting it. But I have been shit-faced drunk and literally swam in a lake. And I know how to swim really well. So I don't know how someone just gets drunk, falls in a lake, and dies.
I hear what they're saying about gravel and sand, but I'm more intrigued by the concept of wires and cable.
Right, but you got to be pretty low. Don't you think?
Not necessarily. Not if there's a lot of depth involved. And if the water authority is controlling the wash through by mitigating flow in other dam basins, then there would be no way to predict at what point in time a particular flood event would take place, because the general flow of the water is below what would be natural without the dams. But when the dams overflow, they release a bit of more water than usual to offset their inflow of water, right? So there's just no telling when this would happen.
Right. Okay. So there's actually a document, the ordinance. It's a PDF and it looks old. I just pulled it up, and it's got like the entire ordinance typed up. It was literally signed in 1964.
So that makes sense. That's when the law would go into effect.
In graffiti. And I think.
Hold on.
It's interesting though.
Okay, so hold up, chick. This one is like an hour long.
That's what I said. I was just sending it to you because, like, the beginning is where they talk about.
Let me try to copy and paste it. Open a new tab. I think I can do that while I'm on my phone.
I looked at it on Google earlier while we were talking about it. I read part of it out. The PDF would just be the transcription of the law itself.
Open a new tab. Copy link.
You can call me crazy. I know that what happened to me is going to make me passionate and like really double down on what I'm saying. And there's something evil going on in this city.
Take me down to the river where the peace won't run dry. Gather round.
They got me.
Huh?
They got me.
Oh, yeah.
Visitors alike. But beneath the surface of its serene waters lies a mystery that has haunted the community for over a decade. Rather than being celebrated as a family-friendly water spot, the lake has come to be feared for much more sinister reasons. Since the early 2000s, more than 18 victims have been pulled from Lady Bird Lake after going missing in suspicious circumstances, and many of its other victims have yet to be identified. The strange deaths began in 2008 when the first life was tragically claimed by the depths of Lady Bird Lake in Austin, Texas, when the body of a respected member in the community was spotted floating near the shore. When the lifeless man was pulled from the water, officers found that his hands and feet were bound. There was also talk among locals that the man's head was wrapped in duct tape. Yet, even with these details, the victim's death was still ruled as self-induced. Residents of the area
What? Like how? Hands and feet bound, head wrapped in duct tape, but self-induced. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, no. That they must be covering something up too, because this has been going on for a long time. And like after 2 deaths all those years ago, all of a sudden that huge body of water can't be swam in. I mean, there's got to be you know, like through drinking water,
Keep going.
capacity report,
It does.
were
electric
grappling with
utility.
grief, confusion, and an unshaken.
What are you reading to us?
Me?
Oh, she's reading out loud.
Sorry. I did. Could there be loose electricity in Lady Bird Lake? I just Googled because I've never done that before. And that's like just some weird ass theory I have. But have you guys looked up any of the people that have died or like delve into that part of it yet?
We were going through a video that covers some of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this documentary does. Go ahead.
Now we're covering a video on why you can't swim in the lake.
But it goes through the bodies that have been found. Go.
Right.
Unmistakable sense of unease. The authorities reassured the locals that there was nothing to worry about and that this was simply a tragic accident. But when more men started to die in different but no less inexplicable circumstances, officials regurgitated the same explanation to keep the community's mind at ease. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of a sinister pattern that would grip Austin residents for years to come. As a matter of fact, it's gripping Austin tighter than ever before, right now. While the whispers of a lurking
plot twist, there's actually an ancient evil associated with this part of Austin that's been devouring people at the rate of 6 a week for the past 15, 20 years. Nobody's noticed.
Yeah. See?
It's like it, but for gay guys.
Serial killer have finally come out of the shadows and into the light. The locals who are living on what might be a monster's hunting ground are left with little they can do except continue to beg authorities to investigate the cases further. But it seems like their calls for action are repeatedly dismissed as mere coincidence. The police insist that there's no concrete evidence linking the deaths together beyond their shared location, and they argue that what appears to be a web of darkness is, in reality, just a series of horrible but unrelated incidents, a collection of isolated tragedies that defy explanation. But in recent months, the number of fatalities on the lake has risen at an alarming rate, and it's become increasingly difficult to deny the similarities. The same community which was told there was nothing to fear is now left wondering, is there more to these deaths than the authorities are letting on?
Okay. How far into this do we have to get into the individual? And this goes way back. This isn't recent. This goes back to the mid-60s.
Yeah. I'm like reading a lot of this so there is an electric company involved.
But yeah, it's a cooling reservoir.
Built in 1960 to create a reservoir for the Holly Power Plant.
Which would imply that the entire place was occupied before it was flooded. So there's all kinds of lines, wires, cables.
Yeah. It was initially intended to help with electricity generation. The power plant is gone, but the dam is relied on to maintain water levels in the lake. It also helps control water releases downstream, a function that's become more important as the region remains in a years-long drought. One of the 7 lift gates that are manually open and closed to control flooding has been broken for years. So they're not manually opened anymore. City department operates this. Okay. Austin Energy, the city-owned electric utility, and the Lower Colorado River Authority have long known about the need for work on the dam. Austin Energy is the city department that operates the structure. That department operates dams upstream from Austin and coordinates with Austin Energy when they release water downstream. So there is still like some sort of electrical, and I know this might sound far-fetched to people. It's just a thought I had, only because I watched these 2 other videos where people have fallen in water. Another one I watched jumped in to go swimming, and they both got electrocuted, died.
Duke City, welcome in.
Yeah, but that would be highly localized.
So I was just applying that, like, kind of to this, like, I wonder if.
Good pitch. I like it. The only issue is the distribution of bodies is a little too wide for it to be all killed in the same exact spot on top of an electrical wire. Now, if you eliminate all of them that have self-inflicted whatevers, and you only deal with the 10 or so that are quote unquote natural causes or blunt force trauma or whatever, maybe. But I'd have to see where they were picked up.
In Lady Bird Lake. Now I'm looking for a diagram. Okay, so I found a diagram of where the bodies have been found. Have you looked at a diagram yet?
Yeah.
Yes.
You have. Okay.
Keep going.
Located in the heart of Austin, Texas, the state's capital city. It's a man-made body of water which was formed when a dam was built, and its original purpose was to serve as a reservoir to cool down the local power plant, which is no longer in operation. Lady Bird Lake stretches along the Colorado River with its northern boundary near downtown Austin, and it's easily accessible to residents and visitors alike. Lady Bird Lake was once called Town Lake until the city council renamed.
Okay. All right. Cool.
River with its northern boundary near downtown Austin, and it's easily accessible to residents and visitors alike. Lady Bird Lake was once called Town Lake until the city council renamed it in 2007 in honor of our former First Lady, Claudia Johnson, who was known by her nickname, Lady Bird. Claudia was devoted to beautifying the city of Austin, and she put a lot of time into improving the area around Town Lake, which was in desperate need of attention. While the lake holds a commanding position in the center of the city, before Claudia got involved, its shoreline was described as an eyesore. Years of untamed weeds, overgrown bushes, and rubbish littered the region until Miss Johnson pushed for city funding to transform the area surrounding the lake. She supported a major cleanup as well as the establishment of hiking and biking trails to connect the various water access points. Nowadays, there's a popular 10-mile trail loop which circles the whole lake, as well as various inlets and reserves dotted along the shoreline which provide a sanctuary for protected wildlife. Exploring the shoreline also offers breathtaking city views which are perfectly framed by the broad sky above the ripples of the lake's surface below. With its beautiful waters and scenic surroundings, Lady Bird Lake offers a peaceful reprieve from the bustling city surrounding it. But while the calm waters hold endless appeal to residents, there's been no swimming allowed in Lady Bird Lake since 1964. And
1964.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it's a really weird structure in the first place.
So you know the guy that was shot?
Not specifically.
You heard about the
That's the one over July 4th.
Josu Moreno was shot while driving and his vehicle plunged
yeah,
into
that
the
one.
reservoir. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how's that one even associated, except for the fact that his body ended up in the reservoir? That is immaterial.
That wouldn't have, that shouldn't have been in there.
Right.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
just on the list because he happened to die in the reservoir, or his body happened to be in the reservoir.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like a lot of people on this list are just on that list for that reason.
Well, and have you noticed in like randomly talking to people, I've noticed so many adults do not know how to swim, and that drives me insane. Have you guys run into friends, family, coworkers,
The Deep South.
no, they don't know how to swim, and it's like that's ridiculous. Everybody needs to know how to swim.
Right.
We just went all stop motion.
Yeah, now I'm going down this whole rabbit hole again because of you guys. It's like totally intrigues me.
Keep playing.
if you listen to the rumors, you might believe that the ban is due to poor water quality caused by runoff from city streets, or that building the dam left dangerous materials littered along the lake bed. But the reality of the swimming ban is much darker. Despite its quaint name and serene appeal, Lady Bird Lake has a much more sinister reputation. Right back in those early days when the lake was first formed, 2 young children drowned while swimming with their family on Mother's Day.
Ollie Rendon says he was just 8 years old when he witnessed his 8 and 11-year-old sister drown in Lady Bird Lake. Now, decades later, he says it's still a day that's hard for him to talk about.
Then a few weeks later, someone else drowned at Lady Bird Lake. Then a few months after that, when it happened for a third time, the city council was pressured into declaring an all-out ban on swimming. They later extended the ban to include the use of motorized leisure equipment on the lake and even went as far as to restrict fishing at Lady Bird. It was almost a no-fun zone. Without the option of wading through the water for fun, the lake became popular with water sport enthusiasts who take to the water for stand-up paddleboarding and other non-motorized leisure activities.
But that seems just as dangerous as swimming to me. I mean,
right, because they could fall out or fall off, and then they'd be in the lake. I mean,
I guess the difference is having something to hold on to that keeps you at the surface instead of near the surface.
yeah.
The parks and trails around the lake are also well utilized for community events, festivals, and concerts, or even simply for families who just want to spend some time together at the water's edge. But no matter how many years have passed, like a shadow under the surface of the water, the sense of darkness at Lady Bird Lake still remains. And despite the ban on swimming, deaths at the lake have continued right up until present day. Except that, in recent years, the victims aren't simply drowning, and their deaths appear as though they may be connected. So let's talk about the victims, all of whom seem to be male.
My dad just gathered all us together and said, hey, let's all hold hands and go into the water.
The true mystery began in April of 2008, when the body of a missing man was found floating in Lady Bird Lake. 55-year-old Rihad Hamad was born and raised in Lebanon before immigrating to the United States. He lived in Austin for 30 years prior to his death, where he used various degrees to teach business education. On the side, he taught keyboarding to middle school students. He was known as a generous man who was peaceful and patient. Riyadh was also deeply involved in Austin-based charity work and even sold handmade...
It's okay, bud. We all float down here.
So several dogs have also died in the lake.
I know recently they've had a couple dogs because of the algae.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was watching this family over here a couple hours away from me. They went hiking, and it was a couple and a child and a dog,
Mm-hmm.
and they were all found dead on the trail, all of them. And there was no reason for it at all. So they started doing all this algae bloom testing, like in the area,
Yeah.
to see, because I guess it's more than like drinking it. I guess if there's so much, you can somehow get poisoned by being around it.
See, it seeps through your skin.
Right. Like you can,
Welcome in.
I forget like how they actually explained it, but they determined they did not drink any of the water. But they had all these people out there like testing, like, the air and different things, because they could not figure out why these people died at all. So it says algae contains a potent neurotoxin. So could algae be in play? But then I would think during during autopsy, they would find something with algae. So I guess it probably wouldn't be that, right?
I mean, I would think the same way. Later, Rumsky, thank you for coming in.
I would find that highly unlikely for it to land a bunch of bodies in the same area over 30 years.
Right. Yeah.
Keep going.
Made good stories for Palestinian families. On top of his work and community engagements, Riyad was outspoken on international politics, specifically in relation to U.S. policy in the Middle East. 2 months prior to his death, his home was raided by the FBI, and 40 boxes of paperwork were removed, but ultimately, no charges were ever brought against Riyad. On the 13th of April 2008, Mr. Hamad was reported missing by his wife after failing to return from a trip to the pharmacy. Then the following day, a passerby noticed something unusual floating in the water at Lady Bird Lake. As the current brought the item closer to the shore, the woman quickly realized that what she was looking at was a body. She called the authorities straight away. It was soon identified as father of two, Riyad Hamad. Officials declared that Riyad appeared to have committed suicide. There was just one problem with that theory. It completely contradicted the circumstances in which his body was found. The woman who first spotted him in the lake recalled that Riyad's hands and legs were bound and there was duct tape over both his eyes and mouth. And others who watched the body being pulled from the water noticed the same thing. So no one could understand the strange announcement from officials. In fact, when information about the duct tape and bindings went public, the police were forced to make a follow-up statement where they stated that the bindings of his hands and legs and placement of the tape were all consistent with Hamad having done that to himself.
Oh,
they had
my
apparently spoken to friends and
That is crazy.
Yeah, because, on a Saturday night, there's nothing I like better
Then
than
to
go
bound
out.
yourself up? I mean,
No. First, you got to go out to the river and get on your knees next to a wash zone. And then you bind yourself and lay on your side and wait for the next flood to carry you away. That way you can be a That Chapter episode.
no.
I don't see it.
family of Riyad claimed that he'd been experiencing thoughts of harming himself in the lead up to his death. He was upset about the recent FBI raid, which had the potential to damage his reputation and affect his charity work. However, the person responsible for preparing Riyad's body for his death rites claimed to have seen facial bruising and other injuries on the body, which he described as looking like he'd been attacked by an animal. These injuries would be inconsistent with a person taping themselves up and then somehow getting into the water to drown. The FBI never brought charges against Riyad, and none of the reasons for their raid have ever been publicly substantiated since his death. Mr. Hamad's passing was the first known suspicious death at Lady Bird Lake, but it's far from the last, and even further from being the most perplexing. On Saturday, the 16th of October, 2012, Austin police identified the body of a man found dead in a creek in Austin as 21-year-old Cole Christensen, a native of Anchorage, Alaska. Christensen, a former student at the University of Alaska Anchorage, was a popular and humorous guy with a bright soul who loved hockey. He was known for customizing jet skis, motorcycles, and anything else he could get his hands on. One friend said, Cole made a lot of people laugh, had a really big smile, and treated everyone with kindness. Christensen spent a lot of his time in the presence of his loved ones at a cabin on Big Lake, his favorite place. He enjoyed campfires, wakeboarding, jet
If
skiing.
you want to like skim forward to the next victim, I mean, we
Long
don't know.
walks on the beach and pina coladas at sunset.
In February of 2014, Ilano Valet was a 20-year-old student at St. Edward's. He was described as a kind soul who fought for the rights of others. His friends say he went out of his way to help people, even if it meant staying up all night. Ilano was the type of guy who would drop whatever he was doing and rush to a friend in need. He loved racquetball and artsy performances like watching orchestras. He was notably recalled for his infectious smile and for occasionally eating nothing but ice cream for dinner. Not many details have been released when it comes to Ilano Valet, but we do know that he was found in Lady Bird Lake, near Cesar Chavez, roughly 10 days after he disappeared. Originally from Maryland, Aaron David Rublik moved to Austin in 2011. In October of 2014, 25-year-old Aaron was working at a marketing firm in downtown Austin. Rublik was hanging out in the town with his friends one Thursday night before catching a cab to get home from Rainey Street. The driver dropped him off outside the Holiday Inn near I-35 at around 2 a.m. Friday morning. Roughly a day and a half later, two fishermen discovered his body in Lady Bird Lake. Police said they saw no signs of trauma on David's body, and they suspect another accidental drowning. 22-year-old Julio Santos III was an Austin native.
Wrong button.
College at North Texas State University. After graduation, he scored his dream job in Seattle and decided to spend a couple of weeks at home before heading away again. He was known for his big heart and friendly nature. And when Julio's body was pulled from the water on June 7th of 2015, his toxicology report found the presence of alcohol in his system, but no drugs. He was found fully clothed except his belt was missing. And just like the other victims before him, Julio Santos' death was ruled as an accidental drowning.
Sounds like a weapon of convenience to me.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm having massive storms over here, and my internet is made of like cottage cheese.
Ah.
You're doing all right.
I just dropped
that article. That's the guy that survived, right?
Yeah, and
we went over that. My bad. We went over that earlier. Yeah.
Okay, because he was, and that's another thing. These people could be getting their drink spiked, or something, and being tossed into the water, and then I could understand more of the drowning, because they've got, like, this article said he was drugged with benzos. So they had been bar hopping, him and his friends. One got separated, got a spiked drink or something probably, or left his drink unattended, whatever. And he said, however, somehow managed to fall 25 feet from the West 6th Street Bridge.
Yeah, he gave his statement though, and he said that he was, he was attacked.
Right.
Right.
So it also says that they discovered that he had severely damaged organs, had broken 7 vertebrae, broken shoulder, elbow, 2 ribs.
Yeah, they put pipes or whatever in his back.
What's more, he says a drug test showed that he tested positive for benzos, a strong sedative used to treat, we know what it treats. So figure on alcohol, maybe spiked with benzos.
That is bad. That is really bad, Mojo. That is not a good thing. Don't do that.
No, yeah, benzos and alcohol, no.
No, never.
Bad.
Yeah, that is bad.
But bad, okay? Bad, okay?
But it's like they just found all those people on that, that that dude that was burying people all over the island or something like that?
I don't know.
Hey, AJoT, I forgot I got something for you, and I ain't even showed you. My bad.
I gotta bounce. Thanks a lot for proving just how ugly and immature you are. It's been real. And just so you know, I don't really care about your problems.
Oh my God, that was great. That was freaking awesome.
That's been sitting over here for like a week and a half, and I keep forgetting to show you.
Oh, that was great.
I'm gonna leave you guys.
Okay.
I'm
Thank you
gonna
for
go.
coming up.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I know you guys were doing your own little thing. That's why
Oh
I
no,
wanted to
it's okay. No,
just ask.
right. Yeah, no.
You guys got me going on my weird little thoughts. You know how that goes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You start thinking of stuff and it's like, I wonder if it's this. I wonder if it's that.
Yeah.
All
All right, girl. Have a good
Thank
night.
you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All righty. Bye.
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 But it's a lucky thing I had my pieces.
Your pieces?
My guns.
Oh.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang! Bang! Well, I don't see so good, so I missed. Then they ran away. I ran after them.
Okay.
Bang! Try to shoot them in the back. But I don't run so good either. Anyway, you guys all think I'm a hero, and I'll accept that responsibility.
Love that guy. He's
That
great.
was good. That was good.
On June 18th of 2016 at around 3 p.m., two people fishing in the water on the south side of the Colorado River near the 2900 block of Wickham Lane reported the discovery of a body lying in the water. While the Colorado River connects to Lady Bird Lake, it's worth noting that the location in question is a brave bit south of the actual lake itself. The Travis County Sheriff's Office said they had no reports of a missing person around that time, and the body wasn't in a spot that was easy to get to. It took some time, but eventually, responders recovered the body of a man. When authorities ran fingerprints, they realized it belonged to 35-year-old Fernando Domingo Ortiz. Fernando came from a big family. He always had time for a good conversation. He loved outdoors, fishing, and taking trips to anywhere with a coast. He was described as a gentle man with the heart of a child, a humble and quiet soul who was physically rather quite strong. I haven't been able to find anything else about Fernando's passing, but on his obituary page, some of those that knew him claimed he lost his wife some time ago, and whenever they would see him out and about, he would always mention how much he missed her. His cause of death, to my knowledge, has yet to be released. On Wednesday...
I know I showed you this one, right?
This guy is Teflon. He is like who in the world could I say nearly 100 felony criminal charges have been leveled against the former president? And he is still like rallying and campaigning. I feel like he like eats his shit and it just like makes him tanner and younger and stronger. I feel like he eats it with like a golden spoon that's like emblazoned the Mar-a-Lago emblem, and he's just like, give me more charges. It's like amazing. You better not cut that and make that a video.
Too late.
Oops, my bad.
August 15th of 2018 at around 7:25 p.m., EMS received reports of another body floating in Lady Bird Lake near 200 East Riverside Drive. After recovery, officials initially believed the man to be in his 40s. He was eventually ID'd as 37-year-old Louis Ramirez. Born in McAllen, Texas, Louis moved to Austin after high school and attended St. Edward's University, where he earned a double degree in psychology and political science. But even with his great education, Louis chose to follow his dreams. His passion was music. He made a living as a DJ his entire adult life, working multiple venues such as Kingdom Club and the now closed Lanai Rooftop Club. We
got our participation trophy of the night by Havoc X. Dang, Monica Lewinsky has really let herself go.
Fernando was having the best interests in people. He was an extremely positive as well as a loving and caring individual. He'd give his last buck to help someone out and periodically looked after the homeless. While Louis enjoyed nature and hiking in places like Barton Springs Pool, some report that Louis Ramirez was scared of water and wouldn't dare go near it. As with previous victims of Lady Bird Lake, there are still a lot of details about this case that we just don't know. On October 6th of 2018, 25-year-old Christopher White was in Austin visiting friends and attending the Austin City Limits Music Festival when he went missing. Friends last saw him at around 6 a.m. after he'd had a few drinks and was intoxicated. Christopher told them that he wanted to go check out the water nearby the rental property in West Austin where they were staying. He left without his shoes, wallet, or phone. When he didn't return, he was reported missing. 2 days later, Christopher's body was spotted by passersby near a dock in the Colorado River, close to the rental property he was visiting. Later, his...
See, now that one, you know what I mean?
It's kind of strange.
What?
If he fell in accidentally, you would expect with all the cross currents for him to be found elsewhere. I mean, it's so dangerous.
And not near his motel?
Not near where he was renting, right? Not so much. That's odd. That implies that he was thrown in right there, and that they found him really soon after. Really.
But I mean, he left without his shoes, his phone, and his wallet. So, like, he was planning to go in the water. To me, that's how I see that.
Okay.
Toxicology report revealed the presence of several other substances outside of alcohol. Just weeks later, 25-year-old Martin Gutierrez went missing in Austin. Martin wasn't a local. He was raised in Big Spring before moving to Austin in 2008 after graduating from Texas Tech. His big brother Mitchell recalled how Martin was a caring and loving guy who enjoyed working out and socializing. The night Martin went missing, he had dinner with his brother before meeting up with friends at a local bar. He was last seen wearing jeans and a blue Patagonia jacket, which was the same outfit he was found wearing when his body was recovered from Lady Bird Lake a week later, on November 19th of 2018. Martin's autopsy lists his cause of death as drowning, but his family believes there's more to the story. He had a contusion on the back of his head, and while his blood showed the...
Here's my other question is, why is it taking
a week
or more before they're being found? Like, are they being sunk, right, and then eventually rise up? I mean,
that doesn't really compute.
No, it doesn't. But I mean,
It
because
would make
there
more
is
sense
current.
that they're being kidnapped and kept for a few days and then released, because a body should surface in like summer conditions 3 days max. That sucker be floating like a bloated pig. So a week is kind of strange in how long it takes to find them. That is the one thing here that does imply some form of intelligent design, as it were.
Right.
That and the long odds that this many gay men just hop into the river. That's just, I don't see it.
The presence of alcohol, it wouldn't have been enough to impair him to the point where he would enter the dangerous water fully clothed and then be unable to get back out. And there weren't any other drugs found in Martin's system, but there are a few moments of CCTV footage which captures Martin Gutierrez walking toward the lake. In the video, he can be seen dancing around goofily. According to Mitchell, this is not at all how Martin would behave even when he is intoxicated. Martin's family believed that he was drugged in a bar and then attacked when he was walking close to the water. His death tore a hole in his family, and they joined the growing call for action to protect people from the hazards of the lake. There's also the death of Randy Lexvold, who was found dead in Shoal Creek on the 6th of December 2018. Just like the Colorado River, Shoal Creek also feeds into Lady Bird Lake. Randy was visiting Austin to watch his daughter participate in the USA Junior National Swimming Championship when he went missing. A day after he was last seen, his body was found in...
Hold up.
What?
You didn't catch that?
That he was a swimmer?
Well, not just a swimmer. This man's like serious. The type that, look, when you are a competitive swimmer, you spend as much time, if not more time, in the water than you do out. You couldn't drown that man with 10,000 horses.
Right.
It gets to be such a thing. So, like, when you get really, really drunk and you start to get to that blackout point and you're just kind of functioning on instincts, these people can swim on those instincts.
Right.
Like they'll go to sleep and just backstroke their way to Hawaii. It gives no shits.
And Claiborne, you're right. I believe that my numbers are wrong. There are a couple or whatever trans gay, but I think they're coming. They were like more recent. These ones are what started it. But you are right. All these first ones were straight so far. Go ahead.
Only be described as highly suspicious circumstances. His lungs were filled with fluid, which led the pathologist who conducted the autopsy to determine that he had drowned. But while his cause of death is officially listed as drowning, his specific manner of death is still undetermined. He had several broken bones, including his collarbone, his right thumb, broken ribs, and a broken femur. His head, torso, arms, and legs were covered in scrapes and bruises. The injuries on Randy's body were so bad that police weren't able to identify his age, race, or gender when he was first pulled from the water. However, officials attributed these injuries to a fall in the water, but they couldn't tell how Randy ended up in the creek or where or why he entered the water. All they had to say was that they didn't believe he was robbed because his personal items were found with his body. The autopsy noted that the examiner wasn't sure whether he simply fell, was pushed, was hit by a car and knocked over, or whether he jumped. Thus, the manner of death.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at with the breadth of damage done here. For all we know, it's some random dude riding around in his freaking mid-70s van, just plowing people over and tossing their body in.
Right.
I mean, there's no way to know. There's no MO. Just dead guys.
Right.
Is undetermined. 21-year-old Christian Pugh was in Austin to see stand-up comedian Tom Segura in November of 2019. He was last seen near Clive and Rainey Street at around 1:30 a.m. before disappearing. He was reported missing at 10:30 p.m. the following day, and flyers with his face on them were put up everywhere. He had left his phone in his car. Pugh's car was found on Slaughter Lane, where Christian took an Uber to Rainey Street. The last charge on the young man's card was at Clive Bar on the corner of Davis and Rainey Street. CCTV showed Christian dancing next door at a place called Container Bar. Another video showed his friends waiting outside for him, but he never came out. Miraculously, Christian was found alive 3 days later on the other side of Lady Bird Lake, near Congress Avenue Bridge, in what was described as rough condition. He was low on a hiking trail, the same trail Martin Gutierrez was found on. As a matter of fact, considering Martin's case is what helped lead the search to find Christian Pugh. Christian was in a bad way with life-threatening injuries. According to a video he sent into the Honeydew podcast, he woke up a month later with no recollection of anything that happened to him.
So I was in town to see Tom Segura, of all people. Wait, hold on right now. The whole reason you were in Austin was to see Segura, and you go missing for 3 days and wait a month later. I gotta swear to God, definitely telling him this. Tom, Christian went to see you in Austin. Then after the show, he got drunk and wandered off from his group, was found 3 days later, and he woke up a month later, dude. And he's about to tell me his story right now.
Bro, 3 days.
Yeah.
Where was he for 3 days that he got worked over so hard that he don't know what happened? That is weird. That is weird.
Yeah,
Christian's
there's a
father
Slaughter
told
Lane.
CBS Boston that he firmly believes his son was hit on the head.
That is
he also
weird.
stated that Christian's hands were bruised. According to him, his son was attacked, but he simply couldn't prove it. Christopher further stated, "There are too many people that have gone missing. There are too..."
Okay. Plot twist. All right. Work with me here. Maybe we've been going at this all the wrong way. Maybe it's not people being thrown into the river, but people being dragged into the river. Homie is a kayaker, and he's attacking people on the edge of the water.
Maybe.
You don't like that?
No.
He's a paddleboarder. He's just... Well, how would you make it a bunch of homosexual guys, though? Like, None of this makes any sense. None of this. What's up, Bryce? Welcome in. Toe Daddy, good to see you.
Too many people that have been injured. There are too many people that can walk off, and we still have absolutely no answers as to what happened to any of those folks. No toxicology report.
You gotta share screen.
The button's not working. All right, there we go. I'm telling you, like, look at this. My connection over here. Hey, it's pretty good right now.
Yeah, no, I've been
Not
seeing
as cheese. It's bad. I'm surprised the video's playing, honestly.
Yeah.
Report regarding Christian Pugh has ever been released. His family believes he may have been thrown off a bridge. Either way, he's lucky to have survived, and his incident further proves that public safety in this area needs drastic reform. On the 5th of February 2023, Jason John, known as JJ, went missing after a night out with friends in the Rainey Street area. The last bar he was in was Cantina 512. He sent a text to his girlfriend after meeting a guy in a bar who gave him his DJ card. After speaking with Jason's mother, I reached out to the guy who gave him the card. He immediately blocked me and told me not to contact him again. Apparently, video surveillance picked up Jason walking for approximately half of the time it takes him to get home from the bar to his apartment. Jason was the first of his friends to leave the bar and go home. He was spotted shaking hands with the bouncer while exiting the venue. Video surveillance then picked him up walking for approximately half of the time it would take from him to get to the bar to his apartment. But when Jason's roommate and roommate's friend realized he never returned the following morning, they reported him missing. Apparently, the reason for his early departure from the bar was to take care of his dog, Ruffle. When Jason went missing, the authorities offered little support to his increasingly frantic mother and father. Jason's parents went from one police station to another and were given some numbers to call that went straight to voicemail. When Jason John's family reached Austin, his friends had already started a search group along with Indian American organizations and Austin Marthoma church members. APD didn't seem too worried about another 30-year-old guy going missing from Rainey Street, but when the councilman Mr. Zoe stepped in, APD offered to help. According to Jason's mother, during the search for her son, not realizing who she was, one of the officers asked her, "Who is Jason? I've never seen so many people looking for someone." Another officer told Jason's mother, "You're lucky. You're getting all these services. There's still people under this lake who never got any help." At that stage, Jason's parents had no idea about Lady Bird Lake's murky reputation, but they came.
Yeah, no, that one bothers me, man. Homie fell asleep on one side of the lake and woke up beat up on the other side of the lake.
Right.
But that's just, oops, I slipped. Fell off a bridge. Well, I mean, afterwards, I guess you should just be glad you got away with your life, considering how many people didn't.
Right.
But still, like, nothing. You remember nothing.
Face to face with its dark side when the body of their son was pulled from the water 8 days after he was last seen. After a massive search by APD with sonar boats and 2 times by divers, Jason's body was found in the same place he was reported missing. According to Fox 7 in Austin, toxicology reports showed Jason had consumed alcohol before.
See what I mean? That don't make no sense. That looks like that man was kidnapped and then brought back to this location and dumped.
His death, but there were no illicit substances or medications found in his blood. Jason John was 30 years old when he died. On the night Jason died, he was quoted saying, "I love Austin. I never want to leave Austin." For this reason, Jason's family decided to bury him there rather than in New York. Jason's death marked the first unusual death of 2023. Within 3 months, 4 men had been pulled from Lady Bird Lake. These new deaths were a turning point for local residents. Where they had once merely whispered about a dark force running free in their community, they now began to demand that action be taken to keep them safe, and rightly so. Maybe the fear rising to the surface for Austin residents might have been dispelled if, I don't know, authorities had actually demonstrated that there was no foul play involved in the deaths. But instead, the police fell back on familiar explanations. On top of that,
it don't look good for the local fuzz, man. I don't like the way this feels. This doesn't feel random in my head.
No. And here's another thing. All these deaths are occurring, even if, it wasn't a serial killer. why have they not secured or made the area safer? If there's so many accessible ways, or entries near Rainey Street, because of course that's where most of these are happening, why not?
That's why.
I mean,
You answer your own question. There's so many nooks and crannies over there, it would be almost impossible to patrol it all.
well, not, but they could.
You don't have anything to go on. What do you tell the cops? We're looking for a shady guy with a stick?
No, I know, but I'm saying the accessible, like in that section where these bodies are repeatedly coming up, I'm saying why not at least in that area, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know what you mean. Explain.
Where the bodies are being found, because the river, the lake is a vast, body of water. I understand there's multiple entryways, but in that section where we are looking at where the deaths are occurring, which is mainly around.
What do you want them to do? That's what I'm asking. What can a group of police do?
No, I'm saying the city, not police, the city. Why not close up most of those accessible areas just in that spot?
But
you know what I'm saying?
No, I don't understand. Why would you close them? Because some random dude's beating people to death with sticks, or they're kidnapping guys and throwing them out, or
that's what you and I believe. But what the police are saying is it's being drunk and accidentally falling in, blah, blah, blah. If that's the theory they want to go with, why not back that theory up by making it safer in that area to where it's not
because
the lake
you
and
can't
river
make
is
it
not.
illegal to walk through a public space, yo. That's
No, but
yes,
along
that's
the
what you're
river.
saying.
No, that's
They're
not what I'm
already not
saying.
allowed in the water.
That's not what I'm saying.
It's already illegal to go into water. What more do you want them to do?
But there's accessible points to where you can look at. Back in earlier in this documentary or whatever, it showed a part of where this is, and so there's a public sidewalk that goes alongside the river, but there is also a fence. But what they're in the fence, there's accessible points, where they have the fence cut off and you can walk up to the river to take pictures, see the sights, whatever. In this section where all these bodies are being found, why not close those up if your claim is that they're getting drunk? Huh?
If they're falling in from the bridges upstream and you
They're
close
not all
the
falling
section,
from the bridges, though.
no,
Those
not
are
all.
just a
Not
couple.
all. But what I'm saying is, how do you get the bodies out that you find in there if you don't have ways to get in and out of the water?
They have boats, dude. Police boats. I
All right,
mean,
I just want to know how far you're thinking this through. Is it illegal to fish in the water?
no, not anymore.
Do any fishermen ever come up dead?
Not that I have seen, no.
So it's not just
Just
being
like no wakeboarders or no kayakers. You know what I mean?
Right.
These are all people that have been drinking priorly, except with a couple like the car. You know
But
what I
you're
mean?
saying that wakeboarders and kayakers and fishermen aren't drinking?
No, I'm not saying that.
Then what's the break point that keeps them from falling victim to this, but not the
Because
guys
they're
that
in the
don't?
water.
I
These
have a better
people are
theory.
on land
I have
near
a
the
better
water.
theory. Let me pitch this one at you. And this goes back to something I said previously and something I heard twice. In two of the cases, they mentioned that the last person they were witness contacting was a bouncer at the bar. A bouncer might be big enough to be confident enough to kidnap a man and keep him for a couple of days. He might be confident enough to just beat someone to death with his bare hands. He's had enough physical experience with altercations that this would be the type of person you would look at to do this type of like weapon of convenience type slayings. And might have something against gay guys off the top just because
Get
he's
off the
just a
gay
bouncer.
guys, because I
I'm
might have
just saying,
made
not
that
a,
statement wrong. Because all of them have been straight now. So I wish I never would have said that. I know there's at least one, but anyway, that's besides the point.
Okay, so
When somebody is intoxicated, right? It changes you. So
Okay, sure. But you're trying to make me believe that the people that are fishing, wakeboarding, waveboarding, kayaking are not drinking, and they're therefore not susceptible to whatever the hell is happening here.
they're probably not drunk. Is what I'll say. But what I said was they're in the water. These are happening to people that are on the land near the water.
Sure. So it's probably people doing it and not
And
like
it's at night,
And at night, that's another. And there's that time period. Hey, Scotty Waddles, welcome in, bud. There's that time period issue.
Beer closing, our bar closing hours.
Maybe that wasn't specified. It was always after the bar hopping, though. And that yet again, after closing hours, would lend itself towards being a bouncer or an operator of some sort. For all you know, there's a torture dungeon in that place, and this is how they dispose of the bodies. And that's why homie woke up a month later and don't remember shit. We need to check his bank
time frame of bodies being found is also, it's a question. You have, one or two that was found within 3 days, and then you have, quite a few others that are found, a week or longer. It's just
That's
weird.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
A local FetLife torture dungeon would make more sense than the random people falling in the water. So why would closing anything up over there make any difference whatsoever if we have
the river is not accessible? I'm saying that if they were as a city, I don't know, I just feel that if that's their
okay, I got you.
Okay, shut up. If that's their narrative, that people are getting drunk and they're going to the water and they're falling or whatever, and that's what's causing them to drown, then why not close up them access points near that area at night, like ex-Havoc said, a padlock.
Okay. So if there's just drunk people leaving the bars and falling in, and that's their story, why don't they just set up an Uber where it's free for drunk people to get a ride home?
Because one of the stories, someone did take an Uber to the one where they were found by their hotel room or whatever. He took an Uber. He parked. That's the one where he parked his actual car off of Slaughter Lane and took the Uber. I'm just saying. Anyway.
But I mean, this makes more sense than closing off all access to the.
I'm not saying all access. I'm just saying in that area.
But it would be all access in that area.
Well, sure, but in reality, to the whole lake, what I'm saying is that's not. I would think that would be something the city would do if they're not concerned about.
Well, I mean, it may be a bartender at the local club too. I mean, I'm just looking at the hours that these people are turning up missing. They're not turning up missing, 2 or 3 hours.
But whether it's a bartender or a bouncer, it still would make them a serial killer, correct?
Not if it was a torture dungeon. If it was a torture dungeon, it'd be a group of people. It'd be a serial effect, but not a particular killer. It'd be a different mental thing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But no, what I'm getting at, the difference here is the time frame implies that if there is a person behind all of this, that there would be a time frame that would work. And what you're saying is after hours, generally after the club closes.
Well, I mean, it's the nightlife. There were a few that went missing, after bar hours. But the whole point, like you said, is they're going out drinking, leaving that area, Rainey Street. You know what I mean? And going into the river. Now, you don't hear this about
There's
people
at least
coming
one
from.
that never left the bar on camera.
No.
There was one that never left the bar on camera.
No.
Yes.
No. You're wrong.
That's how it is.
You're wrong.
Yeah, I would clip that, right?
Whatever. Okay, well, I know it's hitting that 2-hour mark. That I appreciate everybody that came in and talked. I definitely think I'm going to get with Angela and look more into this, because this is very, I mean, this is my area. This is where I live. So, but yeah, don't forget Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, I am doing a interview with a Glendale, Arizona police officer. So that'll be great. And yeah, till next time, toodles.
Are you ready to end it?
Yep.
You really do want to end it? This isn't a joke.
Well, no, I mean, I could keep going, but it's.
She sent us to the naughty corner. I just made a joke. She sent us to the naughty corner. Wasn't even woke.
Go to the naughty corner right. Where's my shoe? Go to the naughty corner right now.
Party in the naughty corner.